Vanessa Bell was an English painter, interior designer, a member of the Bloomsbury Group, and the sister of Virginia Woolf. Vanessa Stephen was the older daughter of Leslie Stephen and Julia Duckworth. Her family was composed by her sister Virginia, brothers Toby and Adrian. They lived at 22 Hyde Park Gate in London. She was born on 30 May 1879, and she was educated at home in languages, history, and took drawing lessons from Cook before she attended Sir Arthur Cope's art school. She then studied painting at the Royal Academy in 1901. During her childhood, she had been sexually abused by her half-brothers George and Gerald Duckworth. After the death of her mother in 1895 and her father in 1904, Vanessa sold her house and moved to Bloomsbury with Virginia and Toby and Adrian, where they met and began socializing with the artists and intellectuals who would come to form the Bloomsbury Group. In 1907, Vanessa married Clive Bell. They had 2 sons. They had an open marriage, both taking lovers throughout their lives. Vanessa Bell had affairs with art critic Roger Fry and with the painter Duncan Grant, with whom she had a daughter, Angelica, in 1918, whom Clive Bell raised as his own child. Vanessa, Clive, Duncan Grant, and Duncan's lover David Garnett moved to the Sussex countryside. Vanessa, Clive, Duncan Grant, and Duncan's lover David Garnett moved to the Sussex countryside shortly before the outbreak of the First World War and settled at the Charleston farmhouse nearly fire. At Charleston, Bell and Grant painted the work on commission for the Omega Workshop, established by Roger Fry. Her first solo exhibition was at the Omega Workshop in 1916. On 7 April 1961, Bell died from a brief illness at Charleston, File, and was buried in the Farlow Parish Churchyard.
The Bloomsbury Group, as it's now called, was held together chiefly by the Stephen sisters, better known by their married names, Vanessa Bell and Virginia Woolf. They were strong-willed, vibrant women, and it's satisfying to summon their spirits when I'm in the London neighbourhood. At a time when most women at their class kept house and went to tea parties, the pair devoted themselves to art. The famous men in the group respected them as equals and rarely took exception when they backed the sexual status quo. Vanessa lived and managed a cadre with her husband Clive, the lover Duncan Grant, and Grant's male paramour, David Garner.
As core members of the Bloomsbury Group, Duncan Grant and Vanessa Bell represented part of the artistic sector of this lively intellectual collective. They blended the developing movement of English modernism with a traditional subject, the home. No place represented this more than their own, Charleston farmhouse. Purchased in 1916 at the height of the Great War, the 17th century farmhouse, which is located near Lewes, East Sussex, became a country idyll for the Bloomsbury Circle, particularly for its owners, Grant and Bell, who sought to put this artistic mark on the interior spaces. By installing this personal style into domestic spaces, Grant and Bell materialized their understanding that modernity and domesticity are not separate constructs, but can be combined to create a different interpretation of what it means to be modern. Even if she represented common objects, her paintings were very innovative. The brushwork is loose, the figures dissolve into blocks of color and light. Bell's genius is in the distinctive characterization, achieved despite of the blurred edges and thickly applied paint, these being typical elements of the post-impressionist style that Bell and the fellow Bloomsbury artists championed. Vanessa Bell and Duncan Grant had established their home in rural Sussex, but they continued to seek inspiration in France, making frequent visits to Paris and the south. This picture was painted at La Maison Blanche, a villa just outside Saint-Tropez, which they rented from Bell's friend Rose Vildrac. They stayed there for 5 months from October 1921 with Bell's children Quentin, Julia and Angelica. Bell wrote, "It's delicious to be in the south. One forgets how nice it is. All the colors and the light and space and everything looking so baked through."
This small piece was in Vanessa Bell's house at 46 Gordon Square in London, where the group would often meet. The objects on it include handmade paper flowers from the Omega Workshops, a design company founded by Roger Fry, a member of the group. Bell's use of unconventional low viewpoint, fractured, abstracted forms, and bright colors show her exploring techniques associated with Fauvism and Cubism. Bell began to work with Grant, a younger painter whose work she admired from around 1913, and they subsequently fell in love. This is one of two portraits of Bell by Duncan Grant in the collection of the National Portrait Gallery. Its use of rich, vibrant color and pattern demonstrates Grant's adoption of a post-impressionist style. At the time the portrait was painted, Bell was also experimenting with bold color and simplified form in her own painting.